You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Live at 4. I hope everyone's staying warm out there.
Hopefully. Let's get a first look at your forecast. Meteorologist Jacob Montesano is out on the patio. Jacob, staying warm?
Yeah, temperatures, we've just kind of gotten used to these temperatures. They have been pretty much unchanged. In fact, they're actually a little colder today than they were the last couple of days, but only by about a few degrees. Now, as we take a look at the current radar, we're not seeing anything right now, but we are expecting to see a few chances of snowfall over the next several days. However, currently all the snow is on the east side of the Great Lakes as they have been dealing with some lake effect snow, but we continue to be fairly dry. And we're not expecting any snow for at least the next 24 hours. We'll see clear skies for much of the night, and then we'll see some more clouds develop, although Madison and areas east will likely see plenty of sunshine throughout the day tomorrow, and then we'll see some light flurries Thursday night. Looking at the current conditions, lower 20s right now for much of Dane County. A few areas have been hanging on to the teens, but for the most part, middle to lower 20s throughout the afternoon. It has been a little bit breezy at times, so wind chills are in the teens. Excuse me, even seeing some wind chills in the single digits further east. Now, as we take a look at the evening forecast, we'll be continuing to see temperatures in the teens to 20s, dropping into the teens under mostly clear skies. And for tonight, we'll have another very cold night. Lows will be in the single digits for a few areas. But I'll talk through the chance of snowfall we're going to see. We have two chances over the next several days. I'll talk more in detail about that coming up a little bit later.
Thank you, Jacob.
Minimum wage in this state.
Well, a moment of silence at the state capitol today. Senator Calderoyce, who represents Madison, called for it in honor of the victims of the Abundant Life Christian School shooting. 14-year-old Ruby Vergara and 42-year-old Aaron West. Before the room went quiet, the senator spoke briefly to colleagues about gun violence.
All children and all parents are feeling this loss and the loss of so many children unnecessarily to gun violence. I hope that in this session we can work together to do all we can to reduce firearm injuries and make this world safer for our kids.
Over the past few days, community members have been donating to the ALCS Emergency Recovery Fund through Make Your Meal Matter at Culver's restaurants all across Wisconsin. Tomorrow, a few Texas Roadhouse locations in Madison will participate, giving 100% of the money to the cause. Those locations are the ones on Watts Road and Anamark Drive.
That moment of silence today came as lawmakers in the state Senate debated a photo ID requirement for voting.
Republicans want to add the requirement to the state constitution. Political reporter Will Keneally explains from the Capitol.
Yeah, right now in Wisconsin, you do need a photo ID to vote, but that's a matter of state law. Adding this to the Constitution just chisels that a little bit more into stone, making it harder to undo. Now, Republicans are pushing for this over fears that a liberal state Supreme Court could throw out that law. Here's the author of the proposal.
This amendment is here today because I am unwilling to let this basic election integrity measure be overturned by the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
All right, so we'll run through some legalese quickly here. This is technically a joint resolution passing the state Senate today. It heads to the state assembly next week. Now, the key thing to note here, though, is it's a constitutional amendment, so voters get the final say on this question through a statewide referendum ballot. Now, lawmakers are trying to get this done quickly out of the state capitol in January so that it can end up on this April's ballot. Reporting from the state capitol, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Will. That spring election will be held April 1st, which is also when voters will fill an empty seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Whoever wins that seat will control the balance of the court.
The ballots are set for the upcoming election. In the race to lead Wisconsin schools, two people are challenging current Superintendent Jill Underly. Brittany Kinzer and Jeff Wright have made the necessary filings to run for the superintendent of Wisconsin's Department of Public Instruction. In a press release, Kinzer's campaign described her as a former special education teacher and a public school principal. Wright is the current Sauk Prairie School District superintendent. The Wisconsin Rural Schools Alliance named him the 2024 Administrator of the Year. year. He previously ran for state assembly as a Democrat but lost. Underly's been serving in her role since 2021. At the end of last school year, Underly asked for an additional $3 billion in state funding for Wisconsin's public schools. The proposals would include increasing state compensation for special education costs, increase per student and general aid, while limiting property tax increases. Underly, Wright, and Kinsner will go up against each other in a February primary. The top two candidates will face off for the job in that April race.
The race to fill outgoing Liberal Justice Ann Walsh-Bradley's spot on the state Supreme Court is also set. Liberal Dane County Circuit Court Judge Susan Crawford will go up against conservative Waukesha County Circuit Judge Brad Schimmel. When launching her campaign to succeed Bradley, Crawford cited her previous work for Planned Parenthood as the fight over whether Wisconsin's 19th century abortion law bans a procedure in the state plays out in court. Schimmel opposes abortion because there are only two candidates. There won't be a primary. The two will go head-to-head in April.
Wisconsin is joining a group of states taking action against the nation's largest non-bank mortgage servicing company. The state's Department of Financial Institutions alleges Bayview Asset Management LLC and 3 of its affiliates had deficient cybersecurity practices and that it did not fully cooperate with state regulators following a data breach that impacted nearly 6 million people. The DFI and other agencies around the country are seeking a $20 million penalty in addition to a corrective plan to meet state requirements.
The City of Madison and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services is encouraging people to check their homes for radon. Over the past 4 years, testing shows about half the homes in Dane County have high levels of radon. The naturally occurring radioactive gas can seep into homes from the ground and over time cause deadly lung cancer. You can't smell or see radon, so testing is the only way to know if there are high levels of it in your home. There are several ways to test for radon in your home. You can call the South Central Radon Information Center at the number on your screen. Send a check to the city treasurer to the Public Health Madison Dane County on Park Street or pick a test up. You can do that at the PHMDC's Atrium office on Park Street or the East Washington Avenue location.
A person is safe after falling into the Monona Lake ice. The Madison Fire Department's lake rescue team responded to Lake Monona at about 10:30 this morning. The person was able to get themselves out of the water and onto the ice. Crews made their way to the person and were able to get them back to safety. The person then went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The MFD Lake Rescue Team says anyone going on lake ice should avoid areas with cracking. The fire department also says that even though it's been cold, you shouldn't consider any ice safe.
More local news. After being a space for athletes and fans for 30 years, the McFarland Community Ice Arena is getting a facelift.
Our Ellie LaLiberte shows us what changes are on the way for 2025.
The McFarland Community Ice Arena serves nearly 25,000 people a year. To keep up with the growth of the community and sports here, they need to nearly double the space.
The $3 million addition will add a practice ice rink, training area, new locker rooms, and an expanded lobby. One hockey coach says the new dryland practice area will be a huge help for athletes.
Right now we're using the fringes of the rink. There's not much here, and we're sharing that with a lot of people between ice uses, and it's going to be great to have dedicated space to sit down to talk through what we can be doing on ice and to just be together as a group.
The Arena Board of Directors president says the new addition is beneficial for the entire community.
When we realized we service about 25,000 people a year, those 25,000 people come not only to the rink, but they come to McFarland. They're coming to our restaurants. They're using the area hotels, So it's really a driver of economics for the entire area.
So far, the arena has raised nearly $200,000 for the project, but is hoping to reach $600,000. Starion Bank is loaning the other $2.5 million needed for the project.
The arena is hoping to have construction completed by the beginning of June. Reporting in McFarland, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. If you're interested in donating, you can go to mcfarlandice.org. Coming up next on Live at 4, more than 80,000 people leaving Los Angeles County as multiple out-of-control fires burn.
What the LA Fire Department says about its ability to handle the emergency.
Tens of thousands of people are under evacuation orders in Los Angeles County due to out-of-control wind-driven fires. The Eatonhurst, Palisades, and Woodley fires have killed 2 people and destroyed thousands of homes. We're learning the Palisades fire is now the most destructive in LA County history, destroying more than 1,000 buildings. So far, the fires are 0% contained. The conditions are so bad, the Federal Aviation Administration is temporarily banning flights from flying over the area. Speaking to the media about his department's response, the LA fire chief says this is not a normal red flag alert.
There are not enough firefighters in LA County to address 4 separate fires of this magnitude. The LA County Fire Department was prepared for 1 or 2 major brush fires, but not 4, especially given these sustained winds and low humidities.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has deployed the National Guard to help with the response. Both President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are being briefed on the situation.
The U.S. Department of Justice will release Special Counsel Jack Smith's findings on President-elect Donald Trump's efforts to undo the 2020 presidential election results. But it will not release the parts focused on Trump's hoarding of classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate, at least for now. The DOJ made the announcement in a filing to a federal appeals court. That court's currently reconsidering a request from Trump to block the release of the 2-volume report. Trump's team argues its release should remain on hold while charges remain pending against him.
Meanwhile, Trump is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to pause this Friday's sentencing in his criminal election interference case. It comes one day after a New York State appeals court denied his request to have it postponed. In May, a jury of 12 Americans found Trump guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records in order to hide a sexual encounter he had with a porn star from the public ahead of the 2016 election. The judge in the case has implied that he will not give Trump prison time, but he will uphold the president-elect's guilty verdict.
The Biden administration says sign-ups for the Affordable Care Act are nearing a new record. Nearly 24 million people have signed up so far, and the registration period isn't over for about a week. That's nearly double the amount from when President-elect Trump was in office. There are more than 3 million new customers and more than 20 million returning. The administration says the growth is a consequence of more generous federal subsidies, heightened outreach, and an easier enrollment process. Still, the president called for more action from lawmakers. A statement from him reads in part, "I urge Congress to double down on the progress we have made and ensure Americans have access to quality, affordable health care by extending the ACA premium tax credit this year."
A free tool to help you file your taxes becomes available this Friday. The Internal Revenue Service says its guided tax software only works for people who made less than $84,000 in adjusted gross income. If you made more than that and want to file for free, you'll have to use what's called free file fillable forms. The IRS won't process any returns before January 29th. For more information, go to irs.gov.
And let's get a check on our first warn forecast. Meteorologist Jake Camanasano is back inside. Getting warm enough?
Yeah, but honestly, I've been kind of getting used to this cold, and although it was only in the 20s, or currently is still only in the 20s, it honestly didn't even feel that bad. It's just been so cold that, we have nothing else to compare it to, at least of late. And we're going to continue to be cold, not a lot of big warm-ups going forward, but we are going to see some snowfall. We have a chance of flurries Thursday night into Friday, but a better chance of snow is expected to come on Sunday. So first, looking at the snow chance that we're going to see tomorrow night into Friday, we'll see clear skies tonight with some clouds developing during the morning and afternoon, especially west of Madison. But that snow is likely not going to come until a bit later in the day. After sunset, we will start to see some snow showers move into the western portion of our area. And then we're going to continue to see some light flurries throughout the night Thursday and into Friday. And these flurries are expected to continue throughout much of the day on Friday. Now, the snow is expected to be very light with little to no accumulation expected. Could see maybe up to a ½ inch at most, which could create some slippery roads. But for the most part, this snow is not expected to be a big issue at all. Now, once we get into Sunday, that snowfall could actually bring a few inches. So starting Saturday afternoon and moving into Saturday night, we will see that snow enter southern Wisconsin, and it is expected to continue throughout much of the day on Sunday. We'll see some scattered snow showers continuing into the evening and overnight Sunday, possibly lasting all the way through Monday morning. Now, accumulation is still uncertain, but we definitely could see a few inches, which could really impact the Monday morning commute. Now, the snow is expected to clear out by Monday afternoon, but we definitely could see some snow-covered roads at times, especially later in the day Sunday into Monday, as the system is expected to last for a good portion of the day. So looking at the snow chances, again, light snow Thursday and Friday, more consistent snow Sunday into Sunday night. And then we are expecting dry conditions after Sunday. And although temperatures are going to remain cold, they're going to be consistent for the rest of this week. Highs will be in the upper 20s. But then next week, they're going to be a little bit up and down, but still cold overall. We'll have highs in the teens for Tuesday and Wednesday. Monday night into Tuesday morning could be especially cold, as we'll see a forecasted low of 1. Wind chills likely pretty well below 0. But then the temperatures are going to rise possibly into the lower 30s for Thursday before dropping again for the following weekend.
Thank you, Jacob. Coming up next on Live at 4, a preview of this week's Wisconsin Huddle, who's sitting down and talking with Zach Hanley.
And Josh Spreiter gives us a sneak peek at an effort from UW to get young people interested in physics. In the 608, free tickets are now available for upcoming shows of The Wonders of Physics.
Oh, The Wonders of Physics. You put a little pizzazz in that.
Well, it just felt right.
Yeah, it did. Josh Spreiter is on the UW-Madison campus with a preview of an effort to get young people interested in physics.
Well, we are talking science in the 608 with a couple of fun demonstrations for you today. I have Hattie and Aubrey joining us. Hattie, I want to start with you. We're talking about the Wonder of Physics show, which is coming up this February, and tickets are now available.
Yeah, tickets are available online, so go online, get some. There will be a lot of movement on these tickets as the next couple of weeks go, so if they're full, don't worry, you might be able to pick some up a little bit closer to the show.
And these are free tickets, too.
They are free. This is open to the public. Science is for everyone. Right, Josh?
It sure is. And you've got a couple of demonstrations for us showing just how science is cool. What are we doing here first?
Yeah, so first, safety first, right?
All right.
Put the safety glasses on because we're going to be working with liquid nitrogen, which is the same nitrogen that's in the air. It's just cooled down, so it's a liquid instead of a gas. So the temperature of this nitrogen is about negative 200 Celsius or negative 320 Fahrenheit. So colder than it's ever been in Wisconsin. I know it's cold today, but this stuff is so cold that it almost immediately starts to boil in that container. Can you see it bubbling up?
That is so crazy.
Yeah, because everything in this room is about 400 degrees warmer than this nitrogen, so it's immediately boiling and turning into a gas. Now, in the show, we make big demonstrations. So this isn't what you'll see in the show, but it's similar. You know those geysers in Yellowstone?
They bubble up?
Yeah, they bubble up and they release pressure every now and then because that water under the surface is hot and pressure builds up. Well, this nitrogen is turning into a gas almost instantly. And if I put the stopper on,
whoa,
you can see that the high pressure
Look at it go.
forces that nitrogen out of the canister into a little liquid nitrogen geyser, which I think is pretty darn cool.
That is so cool.
So again, this is something similar to what we'll be doing in the show, only we like to do things really, really big in the show. So it'll be 10 times bigger than that.
All right, we got one more demonstration with Aubrey over here. Aubrey, how are you?
I'm good.
So what are you showing us in science today?
So this is one of our newest exhibits at the Ingersoll Wonders of Physics Museum. This is a balloon popper. Here I have two balloons. There's a red balloon inside of a clear balloon. And I'm going to put this in here.
All right.
Then we're actually going to switch places. And I'm going to close this. And I'm going to have you press that button, which is going to fire a laser through this tube and then hit these balloons. And let's see what happens.
All right, here we go. Look at that, the red one went.
So as you can see, the red one did pop, the clear one did not. So how this works is the laser was a blue laser, and that has a blue wavelength, and that means the red balloon's going to absorb that laser and cause it to pop. Now the clear one, the blue laser just passed right through, and that's why it didn't pop. But what's really cool is we have a ton of balloons right here that you can come on in and try to pop one or not pop one yourself. We also have a ton of other really cool demos and exhibits in the museum here that are hands-on, fun to try out. And the museum is free and open to the public Monday through Friday. And now it is also open Saturdays 10 to 1.
Awesome. Well, Aubrey, Hattie, thank you so much. A couple of fun demonstrations showing just how cool science is. And you can learn more for yourself with the Wonders of Physics show coming up next month. Again, those free tickets are available. We have all those resources available on channel3000.com. In Madison, I'm Josh Breiter, News 3 Now.
Thanks, Josh. And here I thought I was high-tech when I did the paper-mache volcano with the vinegar.
I
And
know. Folding the paper airplane. We didn't know what we were doing.
Out of touch now. Well, the Wisconsin women's hockey team is staying on top of the standings after they won and tied with Ohio State this past weekend.
Wisconsin's top scorer Layla Edwards joined Zach Hanley on the Wisconsin Huddle this week. On Thursday, the Badgers shut out the Buckeyes at the LeBron Arena 6-0. They then traveled down to Wrigley Field to take on Ohio State again. This time it ended in a tie and the Buckeyes won the shootout. Edwards says this Badgers squad is a really strong team.
We knew they were going to come back hard the second game. We knew it was going to be a much different game, but we still stuck in it. You know, we had our chances. We went into a shootout, so, I mean, that's as far as you can get without winning. So I thought it was really impressive. I learned a lot from our group. You know, we're very deep, and everyone contributed on the ice, on the bench. Yeah, I was very impressed.
Wisconsin Huddle airs right here on Channel 3 on Friday nights after News 3 Now at 6.
Still ahead on Live at 4, we'll check back in with Jacob for the forecast.
And how Madison's community is reacting to Facebook removing fact-checking.
watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Well, if you're feeling Christmassy, patriotic, and you want to sit by a frozen lake, have we got a spot for you?
Wow, look at that. The Edgewater patio?
Yeah. It's, yeah, 2 chairs. Just, I think those are chairs for us.
It looks like it.
Maddie.
That's where we're going to have the next Live at 4.
Okay.
Tomorrow, Live at 4, we're going to be hosting it from right there.
And you will only see our eyes because we will be bundled up. It's still cold out there, Jacob.
Correct.
Yeah, we're not going to see temperatures warming up that much. Now, they'll be like a few degrees warmer tomorrow, but still very cold. Now, looking at the current conditions, we are still seeing some cloud cover for a good portion of Dane County, but especially off to the south and east. Right here, though, we are seeing clear skies, and that's the case here and for the rest of the western half of our area. Current radar dry for us, seeing some lake effect snow on the east side of the lakes. And if you look way off to the northwest, some light snow in North Dakota. That is going to be the system that will slowly make its way over to us by Thursday night. But taking a look at the snow comparison for this winter, we are almost less than half what we normally see. And although we do have a few chances of some accumulation, we're likely not going to get even close to what we normally see, at least for the foreseeable future. We could obviously see some big systems in February, but for now, we are looking fairly calm, although we are going to see, like I said, we are going to see some chances of snowfall. Now, looking at this evening, we'll see clear skies. Temperatures will be in the teens. Overnight lows will drop to the single digits, and I'll track that chance of snowfall coming up in just a bit.
Thanks, Jacob. Well, today, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced the company will be fact-checking the process for its social media platform on Facebook.
Our Jalen Banks joins us now with reaction from Madisonians on the platform changes. Jalen?
Maddie and Brady, Meta will be taking a similar approach to a fact-checking system X is using currently. Currently, X users use community notes, which replace a third-party fact-checking system. According to Statista, there are nearly 400 million total Facebook and Instagram users in the U.S. And speaking to one Madison Facebook user, they say this lessens their confidence in the platform.
I'm greatly concerned because of all the dangerous and inaccurate information that came out regarding both during the pandemic, but also in the 2016 elections.
Currently, the contributors to community notes are users of the site itself. Tonight at 5, I'll have more reaction from Meta users and do a deeper dive on potential ripple effects of this change.
Thank you, Jalen. Wall Street holding steadier following a slide on Tuesday. The Dow is up 107, the Nasdaq is down 11, and the S&P 500 is up 9.
Video from inside Ancora Cafe and Bakery in Monona shows a sprinkler malfunctioning while customers were dining earlier this week. This was at the location on Monona Drive. The cafe says it's briefly closing its dining area due to the issue, but you can still place pickup orders or use the drive-thru.
Well, the World Ice and Sailing Association's World Championship is coming to the United States for the first time ever, and you'll be able to get a front row seat because Madison is playing host. You'll be able to see the competition. Oh, look at that. That's fun. This is right on Lake Mendota. People from all around the world will come here and race along the ice at nearly 60 miles an hour, and you'll be able to see skiing, sledding, snowboarding, and more. But there's also a chance for you to get in on the action.
For those people around town that just want to bring out their skis or their skates and want to try this equipment, we have 6 vendors that are coming to the lake, setting up shop right out here so you can try it. If you've never tried the sport before, you'll be able to grab a wing and go play around. It's not that hard to do, and you can go try it yourself.
Oh, fun stuff. The championship will take place from February 3rd through the 8th. 2025 during Madison's annual Frozen Assets Festival organized by the Clean Lakes Alliance.
Before we head to break, send us your plant questions. Lisa Briggs will be joining us soon to answer them. Just email tips@channel3000.com.
Coming up on Live at 4, Americans mourn the 39th President of the United States.
Hear why he meant so much to people paying their respects today when we come back. To an update now in the triple homicide investigation in New Lisbon. The Juneau County Sheriff's Department says it's received 172 tips in the search for the suspect, but they're still looking for 47-year-old Virgil Thew. Police say he should be considered armed and dangerous, and if you see him, call 911.
And let's take a live look at the Capitol Rotunda in Washington, D.C. Former President Jimmy Carter is lying in state until his funeral tomorrow. Thousands are pouring in to pay their respects. And we've also learned President-elect Donald Trump is expected to stop by to honor Carter. And before he's laid to rest, we're hearing from the thousands of people who are paying their final respects.
Natalie Brand reports from Capitol Hill.
The snow and cold blanketing the nation's capital has not deterred long lines of admirers from coming to pay their respects to former President Jimmy Carter.
Without President Carter actually implementing Department of Education, I would have never made it through college.
Kimberly Harris from Washington counts the nation's 39th president as one of her favorites. Jill Jack, visiting from Iowa, worked on Carter's campaign in 1976.
I said, oh, he'll never be president because I can't understand half of what he's saying with his southern drawl. But then as he campaigned more, I thought, you know, as a Midwesterner, I thought, you know, he's got it.
Others here for this national goodbye have special connections to Carter. Kelly Callahan has spent nearly 30 years with the Carter Center, focused on fighting disease globally in the most vulnerable communities.
It's changed public health. It's changed the face of the neglected tropical diseases. This is a class of diseases that no one really talked about, no one really knew about before President Carter's post-presidency.
Callahan says Carter's legacy is one of compassion.
President Carter lived his life focused on the love of humanity and ensuring that the gap between the rich and the poor grew smaller and smaller and smaller.
The observances honoring the former president will culminate Thursday with a state funeral at the National Cathedral and a hometown funeral in Plains, Georgia, where he will be laid to rest. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And coming up on Live at 4, don't forget at channel3000.com. Email us your plant questions.
Lisa Briggs is returning to answer them when we come back.
On the next Live at 4, how you can help the Abundant Life Christian School community recover just by buying a meal.
And we're talking with an internationally renowned expert on fact-checking about how Meta's new policy could affect the social media climate.
Hey, Jacob, we're talking about basil. Why don't you talk about the forecast?
Yeah, the forecast is fairly unchanged, at least in terms of temperatures. We're going to continue to see cold temperatures. Highs will be in the 20s to teens for the most part. We do have a few chances of snowfall. We'll see some flurries Thursday night and Friday, but a better chance of snow will come on Sunday, and Sunday's snowfall could produce a few inches of accumulation. Now, as we take a look at the cloud cover and snowfall forecast, clear tonight, followed by cloudy skies, at least for areas west of Madison during the day tomorrow. Madison and areas east should see mostly sunny skies, especially early in the day. We'll see those clouds develop in the evening. That will bring some snow showers with some moderate snow further northwest near La Crosse, but our area just expect to see some light snow. We could see some pockets of moderate snow, but for the most part, the snow will mostly be in the form of just some flurries. And this is going to continue into Friday morning as well as Friday afternoon. We'll see just some very, very light flurries continued scattered across our region. Not expected to produce any accumulation, maybe a ½ inch at most, but this is mostly just expected to be about a dusting. Could make roads slippery at times, but overall not going to be too impactful. Now, as we look a little bit further towards the weekend, Sunday's system will likely bring at least some minor accumulation. So as we take a look at future track, the system will come from the northwest. These are called Alberta Clipper systems because they come from the Canadian province of Alberta. And they move across the Great Lakes region, typically producing about 1 to 3 inches. Sometimes the storms could produce closer to around 5 to 6, but we're certainly not expecting anything unprecedented, nothing in the 10 to 12 inch range. Even worst case scenario, we'll see about only around 5 inches. But right now we are expecting around 1 to 3. And as it is going to impact our area much of the day on Sunday, and it could last into Sunday night and early Monday before it clears out by Monday afternoon. So we definitely could see some slippery roads and some snow-covered roads at times Sunday into Sunday evening, possibly into Monday morning as well. Now, as we take a look at the snow chances specifically, the Thursday night, Friday chance just going to produce some light snow, a little bit of a better chance for Sunday into Sunday night. But after Sunday, we are looking dry for a good portion of next week, and the extended forecast doesn't look to be too active precipitation-wise, but we actually are going to see temperatures kind of up and down a little bit more for next week. So for the next couple of days, highs will be in the middle to upper 20s, some light snow Friday, more consistent snow Sunday. As we look at next week, we'll have highs in the lower 20s Monday, teens for Tuesday and Wednesday, but then possibly jumping back up to the 30s for Thursday, and then maybe dropping a little bit for the following weekend. So they're going to remain cold for the most part, but they are going to fluctuate a little bit for next week. But for the end of this week and the weekend, temperatures will consistently be in the upper 20s.
Jacob, thank you. Back to Brady's basil. It is not exactly gardening weather, but plant questions are always in bloom.
Yeah, this is true. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here with us. You gave me the answer I needed about my little basil plants.
Yes, so basil don't do well long-term in the house. They get some insect pests.
Yeah.
So it's best because they grow so quickly from seed, just keep seeding it.
And then you'll always have fresh basil.
Then you'll always have fresh basil. It'll change your life.
It has changed my life. Okay, some other people have questions now.
Being a basil dad.
Yes, basil dad.
Well, someone asked, can I save, is it coleus?
Coleus.
Coleus over the winter. The roots are in dirt and didn't get them planted before they got cold. They're now in a basket in the garage.
Okay, so basil is an annual that is highly susceptible to cold weather. And if you've left them in your garage, they're done. So you'll have to get new ones next year. If you want to save your coleus from year to year, the best thing to do is to take cuttings and repropagate them and then grow those cuttings in the house over the winter time and then replant them.
Okay.
But yeah, out in the garage, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
So sad, sorry.
Not always the answer that you want, but all right, we have a question from Anne. Anne is interested in starting a native plant prairie garden. She wants to know, what are the first steps?
So the first steps would be to get rid of anything that's planted in that soil area. So if you're taking a garden that you already have, you could spread cardboard or carpenter's plastic over it, sort of get the heat going in there and kill off those weed seeds. If it's grass or it's something that you need to use some herbicide to kill that off, you want to start fresh. So that's your first step. If you have a garden that's already got some prairie plants in it, you'll just want to put new plugs in there and sort of develop it from there.
Our next question is, someone has prairie flowers that are seeding themselves, adding more flower seeds this fall. They want to know, can they spray them with something to keep those weeds down?
So unfortunately, the only herbicide that you can use that will protect broadleaf plants, which would be any of your prairie plants, would be a grass killer. So if you have a prairie garden that you're primarily putting in plants, you can spray it in the spring with a selective for grass herbicide that will only kill off the grass. But any other kind of spray that you would put on there, whether you're using something organic, like a vinegar-based thing, or something like that, or whether you're using something more toxic like Roundup, that's going to kill everything. So unfortunately, you're just going to have to, if you have that sort of scenario, you're just going to have to pull the weeds.
This is not a good time of year for plants.
No.
Well, they are not really positive questions. But I would say that you can learn from that,
Yeah.
and it's always gardening season. So if you like your coleus, then it opens you up to have a new exciting coleus next year.
New experience.
Always
New
gardening
year, new
season.
you.
It's
I like
always
that.
gardening season.
You had a controversial question.
I do have a controversial question.
She's been taking a newsroom poll.
I've conducted a newsroom poll.
Okay.
Is it pronounced poinsettia or poinsettia?
Well, I kind of slur that etia. It is poinsettia. So that's closer. It's not point, because the T is later. There's no T in it.
So poinsettia.
Yes, and it's named after Joseph Poinsett, who was the ambassador to Mexico, I don't know, back in the late 1880s. And he was the one that brought the first cuttings back to the United States.
Oh.
And then the rest was history.
Well, Lisa, that wasn't the answer I wanted, because my vote was poinsettia.
Okay.
So you're not answering anyone's questions very well today.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's all about the facts.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say.
We appreciate
That's what we want. All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
We're going to get out of here, and we'll be right back. And here's another live look at the public viewing of former President Jimmy Carter's casket in the Capitol Rotunda. President-elect Donald Trump just stopped by to pay his respects, and you can see here just how many people are coming to visit the late president. His state funeral will be tomorrow. CBS will carry that, and we'll follow along right here on News 3 Now.
The nominees for this year's Screen Actors Guild Awards are out. If you watched the Golden Globes over the weekend, which we know Brady did.
I did.
You'll be familiar with the nominations. Wicked and Shogun were each nominated 5 times. Kristen Bell will host the ceremony on February 23rd. It'll be the 31st annual SAG Awards, and it'll be streamed live on Netflix.
Demi Moore also got nominated.
Did she?
Yeah, she is on a really good trajectory.
I hope she has another good speech planned.
I think so. I think that like seals it when they see that they have a good speech. They're like, I want to hear more from these people.
Oh.
Okay. Well, did you know that when you drink coffee during the day, it can affect your health, Maddie? A new study suggests those who drink coffee between 4 a.m. and noon reap health benefits like lower risks of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and even premature death. But if you drink coffee outside of those hours, the research says you won't see any health differences. The study is making some scientists consider whether timing patterns should be studied with other dietary guidance. When do you drink your coffee?
At all hours, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Morning, afternoon, night. What about you?
This is just the world we live in.
really
Early
is.
afternoon, usually.
Early
I'll get
afternoon.
Yeah, because I'm on that schedule.
You're not going to see any health benefits.
No health benefits, but it's tasty.
I guess so.
We'll be right back. Tomorrow on Live at 4, Josh Sprider brings us 3 things to do in the 608 this weekend. And later on News 3 Now at 6, the good news for people interested in finding a new job this year. Well, thanks for joining Live at 4 today. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.